think of Marshall as a football player, I think of a guy that was before his time.
I tell you, folks, you know, if you can get a ticket, you got to come out and watch this guy play. This guy is something, man. He is really something.
He was extremely gifted, physically, mentally, emotionally. He was so fluid to the point where it didn't look like he was playing hard all the time.
Forget the big red S. Superman wears a 2 and 8 on his chest.
I think he's obviously the most intelligent football player I've ever seen. He was always a step faster than everyone else. And when you add his preparation and knowledge of the game, that gave him an additional edge. Another thing that set Marshall apart was his versatility. He was a tremendous open field runner. He could get skinny and find his way through holes that didn't appear to be there. And he could also get big and grind out the tough yards when needed.
He hammers into the end zone from a yard out.
Marshall's first game in the NFL reminded me a lot of his first game in college. He looked like he was faster than everybody else, quicker, and he looked like a man amongst boys out there.
Down to the goal line, touchdown! Marshall Faulk, his third touchdown in his very first game.
Marshall Faulk didn't wait long to begin writing his distinguished resume. In his first season, his 1,804 total yards and 12 touchdowns earned him Offensive Rookie of the Year honors and the first of 7 trips to the Pro Bowl.
I think the trade to St. Louis is really what made Marshall into a Hall of Famer. I know in his heart it wasn't the place that he really wanted to go, but he looked at me and he said, hey, this happened for a reason. Once he got into the locker room, I think he immediately felt if I assert myself as a leader, they have enough talent here that we could potentially do something very big. When Trent Green was hurt and everybody thought that their bubble had burst, Marshall came home that night and he said, hey, we got a really good young quarterback who plays on our scout team, and I think with the pieces we have in place, we can still do the things that we were going to do with Trent. That 99 Ram offense became the best offense in NFL history, and Marshall was the key.
The St. Louis Rams are the world champions.
When I watched Marshall and the Rams win the Super Bowl, it was one of the most fulfilling moments in my life because it took me back to the moment when Marshall was traded, and then he said, hey, this trade happened for a reason.
St. Louis, the gateway to the West, is now the gateway to the best football team in the world.
Aside from winning a championship in 1999, the all-purpose back became just the second player in history to amass 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in a single season. And in 2000, after scoring an NFL record 26 touchdowns, Faulk was named the league's most valuable player.
Marshall's greatest game was probably the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2001 season, where he had 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, but it was the manner in which he gobbled up these yards at the end of the game, and everybody in the world knew that Marshall was going to get the handoffs to run the clock out. Now, number 1 run specifically, he had nowhere to go. I think he was so tired. He mustered up everything he had in his body, in his heart, and his soul to cut back, and I think he picked up 30 yards.
This has been Marshall Faulk's effort here in the second half.
And he ended that drive with the touchdown that sealed the game and sent Marshall to his second Super Bowl. I think Marshall Faulk is a Hall of Famer because he lived his life by 3 major virtues: faith, hope, and charity. He always had faith in his teammates. He always had hope that one day he would be able to win a championship. And from his first day in the NFL, he was one of the most charitable, if not the most charitable player in the NFL. Marshall Faulk exuded on a daily basis what actually is necessary to be in the Hall of Fame, not only as a football player, but as a person. I hope I've added half as much value to Marshall's life as he's added to mine. And I'm proud and humbled to present Marshall Faulk for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Marshall Faulk for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Rocky Arsenault.
This is pretty special. This is big. This right here, these guys, class act. And I'm glad to be a part of it.